In this exercise, we're going to demonstrate exception handling with file input-output, or in this case, really just file input. First, I'm going to demonstrate what happens when you don't use exception handling when trying to open a file that doesn't exist. Then I'll show you how to handle the exception correctly using a try-catch statement. So we've pound included the fstream header, so we're already ready there. So let's go ahead and start our program. First thing we're going to do is create an ifstream object. We'll just call it file. Then we're going to open a file that doesn't exist. File.txt does not exist on my hard drive. Then we're going to say while not file eof cout file.get. Get simply returns a single character from the file. And then we'll close the file as the last step. So what we would see if there was data in this file, or if the file even existed, were the ASCII representations of the different characters. But instead, watch what we see. Just a steady string of negative ones, indicating that we're not even getting into the file at all. So we'll do a Control-C to stop that. So what we need to do is add exception handling to this program. The first thing I have to do in C++ is I have to add what's called a bit mask to let the program know what possible errors can exist. And so we're going to have to set what's called a fail bit and a bad bit. And this will signal to the compiler when I try to call an exception that there is an exception to be handled. Now, after these two lines, I can go ahead and call my try-catch. We'll insert a try. And we'll indent our executable code inside the try. We'll save the close to the outside. And then we'll have our catch statement, which will take an ifstream failure object, and I can capture the exact error with e.what, but that's not going to really tell us anything. I'll leave it in there, but instead all we just want to see is something to let us know what went wrong. And then we also need to be able to end the program gracefully, so we're going to put a return 1 here so that the program will stop, and it will return 1 and go back to the system prompt. So let's build and run the program. So you see that the error that was returned by the exception object was basic iOS clear. All right, well, that doesn't tell us anything. So that's why I added the extra statement error opening file. So what I wanted to do in this exercise was demonstrate in a different environment how exception handling works. In the lessons, we worked primarily with numeric exceptions. Here I wanted to work with a different kind of example, so I demonstrated how to check to see if a file is open and then handle the exception when it's not. And as you can see by what happened before we added the try-catch, not handling that exception leads to the program just running interminably. So by adding a file exception, a file, in this case an ifstream failure exception, to the program, when we could not open the file, at this statement right here, the exception was thrown to our catch, and then the program displayed what the problem was and gracefully terminated. It would have been possible right here to include code to allow the user to re-enter a new file name. But really all I want to demonstrate here is just the general overview of how to use try-catch with file I/O. So that's how you do it, and with that we end this chapter on exception handling.